the ultimate guide to rhinitis. A holistic rescue from TCM meridians to modern neuroscience. Why is your nose always blocked? Unlock the 1 key solution with the Yingxiang acupoint, deconstructing allergic rhinitis. It's not just about breathing, it's your body's distress signal, Yingxiang acupoint, and respiratory biology. How TCM precisely intervenes in allergic reactions. Final advice for chronic nasal congestion. Reclaim the free breathing that belongs to you. Hello everyone. I'm very glad to chat with you here about breathing. Have you ever experienced this? Waking up in the morning. The first thing isn't feeling the sunlight, but an endless series of sneezes. Nasal congestion leaves your mind in a fog all day. Breathing is labored, your sense of smell diminishes, and even long-term mouth breathing leads to changes in facial structure and sleep apnea. If you're troubled by these issues, then today's content might become a turning point in your health journey. In traditional Chinese medicine, ETCM, it is said that the lungs open into the nose. But in many people's understanding, rhinitis seems like a stubborn ailment that can't be eradicated. Actually, this is often because we only focus on the nose and overlook the entire energy operation logic behind the body. Today, as a TCM evangelist, I will combine ancient meridian theory with modern biology to deeply deconstruct the ins and outs of rhinitis and provide a set of actionable self-healing strategies. Let's start with the most direct sensation. Nasal congestion. When many people have a stuffy nose, their subconscious reaction is to buy various sprays. Most of these sprays contain vasoconstrictors. While they can provide instant relief, long-term use causes the nasal mucosa's self-regulating function to lose elasticity, like a spring, eventually trapping you in the quagmire of medication-induced rhinitis. What you really need at this time is to find the body's built-in switch, the Yingxiang acupoint. Now, please follow me in doing an action. Find the outer edges on both sides of your nostrils in the nasolabial groove, commonly known as the smile lines. When you press firmly on this spot, if you feel a distinct soreness and distension, even a sensation spreading inward to the nasal cavity, then congratulations, you found the Yingxiang acupoint. Yingxiang literally means welcome fragrance, allowing those with blocked noses to smell again. Anatomically, branches of the facial nerve and infraorbital nerve are distributed beneath the Yingxiang acupoint. By pressing this point, we are actually providing physical stimulation to the local nerve endings, regulating the microcirculation under the nasal mucosa. If you're feeling nasal congestion right now, you can use the tips of your index fingers, applying pressure perpendicular to the skin surface with about 3 到5千克 of force in a rotating motion. This pressure should make you feel sore, numb, and even bring a slight urge to tear up. Maintain pressure for 2 minutes, and you'll find the originally tight nasal passages seem to be gently opened by an invisible hand, with a cool stream of air flowing through the nasal cavity directly to the bottom of your lungs. This instant relief is essentially what TCM calls dispelling lung qi and unblocking the orifices. And in modern medicine, it is the autonomic nervous system readjusting vascular tension. Before delving into deeper syndrome differentiation and treatment plans, I'd like to ask everyone to move your fingers, like and follow my channel, and share this content with friends around you who also suffer from rhinitis. Every interaction from you is the greatest support for me in spreading the essence of traditional culture, and it can help more people regain health through non-pharmaceutical methods. After discussing the emergency switch of the Yingxiang acupoint, we must delve deeper into why your nose has problems. In the underlying logic of TCM, rhinitis is never an issue of the nose itself, but a result of compromised defensive qi. Wei qi. What is defensive qi? In the Yellow Emperor's inner canon, defensive qi is described as an energy that defends the body. It flows outside the vessels, warms the muscles, enriches the interstices, and governs opening and closing. In modern biological terms, defensive qi is your first line of immune defense, including the ciliary movement of the nasal mucosa, secretion of lysozyme, and the action of immunoglobulins. When your defensive qi is weak, external pathogenic factors like wind, cold, and dampness can invade directly. Allergic rhinitis is seen in modern medicine as an overreaction of the immune system, but from a TCM perspective, it is because your body is too cold. Because it is cold, the body needs to generate heat through intense actions like sneezing to expel cold. Because it is cold, the nasal mucosa becomes congested and swollen, trying to thicken the defensive layer. Therefore, the first step in treating rhinitis is not to clear heat, but to warm the lungs and consolidate the exterior. This involves a core TCM concept. The lungs and large intestine are exteriorly and interiorly related. Although the Yingxiang acupoint is beside the nose, it is the terminal point of the Han-Yangming large intestine meridian. The large intestine meridian belongs to Yang, and the lung meridian belongs to Yin. The two form a closed loop through the internal connections of the meridians. If you suffer from long-term constipation or have an imbalanced intestinal environment, this stagnant heat can rush upward along the large intestine meridian to the face, causing the nasal mucosa to remain in a state of chronic congestion. This is also why many children experience sudden rhinitis flare, UPS, after overeating or food stagnation. To help everyone clearly assess their own constitution, we can do a small test. Please check if you usually sweat easily, fear wind, catch colds frequently, and have a pale complexion. This typically belongs to lung qi deficiency with cold. If you not only have nasal congestion, but also experience a bitter taste in the mouth, dry throat, and thick, sticky yellow nasal discharge, this is mostly due to stagnant heat in the gallbladder meridian or damp heat in the spleen and stomach. Please write your main symptoms in the comments section. I will provide targeted advice. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss subsequent in-depth analysis on constitutional regulation. For these different constitutions, herbal medicine intervention needs to be extremely precise. Here, I'll share a classic formula that has been passed down for centuries. Kang'e San. This formula consists of 4 herbs: xanthium fruit, Kang'e, magnolia flower, Xinyi, Dahorian angelica root, Baiji. The details matter. For example,
肺俞位于背部第3胸椎棘突下旁开 1.5 寸，通过艾热的渗透，我们可以直接温暖肺脏。这里有一个小细节，艾灸的力度要讲究循序渐进，这种热力会向体内渗透。对于鼻炎患者，我们更推荐采用雀啄灸的方法，也就是像麻雀啄米一样，将艾条忽远忽近的移动，这种不稳定的热刺激能更好地激活局部的感受器。除了背部的穴位，印堂穴也是一个神来之笔。用温和灸的方法灸印堂10分钟，你会感觉到一股暖流顺着鼻梁下行，这能极大地缓解鼻腔内部的炎症水肿。讲到这里，我们需要引入一个现代医学的视角。神经源性炎症，很多鼻炎患者的鼻黏膜高度敏感， 一点灰尘或温差就会导致肥大细胞脱颗粒，释放大量阻碍，而中医的针灸或穴位刺激，本质上是在通过调节三叉神经系统的兴奋性，提高鼻黏膜的阈值。换句话说，就是让你的鼻子不再那么大惊小怪。为了巩固效果，生活习惯的改变至关重要。我总结了3条铁律。第一，绝对禁忌冷饮。如果你觉得冰水入口很爽，你要知道，你的肺正因为这口冰水而在瑟瑟发抖，肺主皮毛，肺寒则表虚，鼻炎自然反复。第二，注意颈后的保暖。大椎穴是全身阳气汇聚的地方，如果大椎受寒，全身的阳气都会受损，建议鼻炎患者在早晚出门时戴上围巾。第三，练习闭口呼吸。如果你已经习惯了口呼吸，可以尝试在晚上睡觉时贴上专门的封口贴，强制用鼻子呼吸。因为鼻腔有加温、加湿和过滤空气的作用，只有让鼻子持续工作，它的黏膜功能才能得到锻炼和恢复。刚才提到的这些方法，如果大家在操作过程中有任何不适，或者对穴位位置有疑问，请随时在评论区留言，也请记得点击订阅。我们频道每周都会更新关于中西医结合调理身体的深度视频。如果你想通过中医系统的改变自己的过敏体质，关注我们绝对是你今年最正确的一个决定。现在，我们把目光从身体层面提升到精神层面。在中医经典《素问》中提到，精神内守，病安从来。长期的鼻炎不仅是身体的折磨，更是心理的消耗。焦虑和压力会通过下丘脑、垂体、肾上腺轴影响免疫系统，加重过敏反应。我想分享一个古籍中的轶事。清代名医王梦因曾治过一位鼻渊患者，这位患者千言不愈，心情极度郁闷。王梦因并没有给他开太多的通窍药，而是让他每天清晨去园林中散步，深呼吸花木的清气，并配合练习8段锦中的2手托天理3交。这看似简单的动作，其实是在拉伸肺经和大肠经，调理一身之气机。这位患者坚持了3个月，竟然不药而愈。这告诉我们，呼吸的自由不仅来自鼻腔的通畅，更来自心胸的开阔。在实操层面，我还要补充一个非常专业且有效的方法。鼻腔盐水冲洗，这虽然是现代医学推荐的，但与中医的清肺理论不谋而合。请注意，冲洗用的水温必须控制在35到38摄氏度之间，太冷会诱发过敏，太热会灼伤黏膜。在冲洗时，头微微侧偏，让水从一个鼻孔进，另一个鼻孔出。这个过程可以洗去鼻黏膜上的过敏源和坏死细胞，配合我们前面讲的穴位按摩，效果会翻倍。对于食疗方中的克数，我再重复一遍，大家可以截图记录。针对肺气虚的黄芪通窍汤，黄芪30克，防风10克，白术10克，辛夷9克，包煎、炒苍耳子6克，这也就是中医著名的玉屏风散加减。黄芪在这里扮演了建筑师的角色，它能固表，帮你把免疫系统的围墙建好。这个方子建议在秋冬季节服用，对于预防过敏性鼻炎的季节性发作有极好的效果。如果你正处在急性发作期，鼻涕流得像水一样停不下来，这时候可以用生姜、葱白、紫苏叶煮水，生姜3片，葱白、带须、 3段紫苏叶10克。葱白中含有的挥发油具有极强的通窍散寒作用，能在短时间内收缩鼻黏膜，止住清涕。讲了这么多，其实是想告诉大家，鼻炎不可怕，可怕的是我们失去了对身体的觉察。每一个喷嚏，每一次鼻塞，都是身体在向你发出求救信号，它在告诉你，我太累了，我太冷了，或者我的垃圾排不出去了。作为一名中医布道者，我一直坚信，最好的医生其实就是你自己。我们的任务是帮你找回那本被遗忘的身体说明书。如果你能按照我今天说的方法，坚持按压迎香穴，注意保暖，合理膳食，并保持乐观的心态，你会发现大自然赋予我们的那种顺畅呼吸的本能一直都在。在视频的最后，我想再次强调，药补不如食补，食补不如神补。养生不是为了长生不老，而是为了在活着的每一天都能自由的呼吸，有力的行走，从容的面对生活。如果你觉得今天的分享让你对鼻炎有了全新的认识，如果你愿意从今天起开始改变自己的生活方式，请务必点赞并订阅。你的每一个订阅都是对深度原创内容的尊重，也是我们继续创作的动力。请在评论区写下我开始呼吸了，让我们一起见证身体自愈的力量。祝愿大家都能在这个繁杂的世界里，拥有一份清新的空气，一份顺畅的呼吸和一个健康的体魄。我是你们的国医布道者，我们下期内容再见。刚才我们提到了呼吸的重要性。其实，在很多传统的导引术中，呼吸和鼻子的关系被描述得更为深邃。比如，在庄子中提到的真人之呼吸以种，常人之呼吸以候。虽然我们现在还达不到真人的境界，但通过调理鼻炎，我们至少能从浅层的口呼吸回归到自然的鼻呼吸。这里我再教大家一个辅助的小妙招，叫做鼻部魔法。每天早晨洗脸后，将2手掌对搓发热，然后用双手的鱼际处，也就是大拇指根部那块厚实的肌肉，上下摩擦鼻梁两侧，从眉心一直磨到迎香穴。这个动作要重复36次，你会感觉到整个鼻子从外到内都热了起来。这种热能带动局部的血流量增加，相当于给鼻黏膜做了一次深度 SPA。 对于很多家长关心的儿童鼻炎问题，我想多说2句。小孩子的体质通常是阳痿有余，阴常不足，而且脾胃极其娇嫩。对于孩子，我们不建议过度使用寒凉的中药，家长的重点应该放在揉脾经和捏脊上。通过调理后天之本的脾胃，让气血生化有源，肺经自然就能得到资助。这在中医里叫做培土生金。具体的操作可以是：每天晚饭后1小时，给孩子捏脊3到5遍，重点在背部的肺俞穴区域停留，并向上提拉。这种物理刺激能极大地激发孩子的自身免疫力。如果孩子鼻塞严重，可以用温毛巾敷在迎香穴和山根穴两眼之间的位置，热气能通过皮肤渗透，迅速缓解水肿。讲到这里，我想起了一句古训：医不自治，药不乱服。虽然我今天分享了很多方子，但每个人的情况千差万别。如果你的症状非常严重，甚至伴有高热、 头痛欲裂或反复鼻出血，请务必去正规医院进行检查，排除器质性病变。我们所做的一切是建立在科学认知基础上的生活化调理。此时此刻，我想请你闭上眼睛，尝试用鼻子深深地吸一口气，再慢慢地呼出来，感受气流经过鼻道时的触感。如果你觉得那一刻有一丝丝的通透感，那就是你的身体在给你反馈。请记得给这个视频点个赞，分享给你的家人，并订阅我的频道。在接下来的系列视频中，我还会为大家解构失眠、脾虚以及各种亚健康状态背后的中医逻辑。
Regarding the gram measurements in the dietary recipes, I'll repeat them. You can take a screenshot. For lung qi deficiency, 黄芪糖荞汤 astragalus decoction for unblocking orifices, astragalus 黄芪30剂 sapochnikovia root, 方方10剂 atractalodes macrocephala rhizome, 白术10剂 magnolia flower 心意 wrapped 9剂 stir 减 fried xanthium fruit, 抗 RZ 6剂 This is the famous TCM formula, Yuping, 风散 jade screen powder with modifications. Astragalus here acts as an architect, fortifying the exterior and helping you build a strong wall for your immune system. This formula is recommended for use in autumn and winter, with excellent effects in preventing seasonal flare, UPS of allergic rhinitis. If you're in an acute flare, up phase with uncontrollable watery nasal discharge, you can boil water with ginger, scallion white, and perilla leaf. Use 3 slices of ginger, 3 sections of scallion white, with roots, and 10 g of perilla leaf. These 3 items are commonly found in the kitchen. The volatile oils in scallion white have a powerful effect in unblocking orifices and dispersing cold, contracting the nasal mucosa, and stopping clear discharge in a short time. After discussing so much, I actually want to tell everyone that rhinitis isn't scary. What is scary is losing awareness of our bodies. Every sneeze, every instance of nasal congestion is a distress signal from your body, telling you, I'm too tired, I'm too cold, or I can't get rid of the waste. As a TCM evangelist, I firmly believe that the best doctor is actually yourself. Our task is to help you retrieve that forgotten manual for your body. If you can follow the methods I've shared today, persistently press the Yingxiang acupoint, pay attention to keeping warm, maintain a reasonable diet, and keep an optimistic mindset, you'll find that the instinct for smooth breathing bestowed upon us by nature has always been there. At the end of the video, I want to emphasize again, herbal tonics are not as good as dietary therapy. Dietary therapy is not as good as nourishing the spirit. Nurturing life isn't about seeking immortality, but about being able to breathe freely, walk vigorously, and face life with composure every day you are alive. If today's sharing gave you a new understanding of rhinitis, if you're willing to start changing your lifestyle from today, please be sure to like and subscribe. Every subscription from you is respect for deeply original content and the motivation for us to continue creating. Please write in the comments, I'm starting to breathe. Let's witness the power of the body self, healing together. Wishing everyone can have fresh air, smooth breathing, and a healthy body in this complex world. I am your national medicine evangelist. We just mentioned the importance of breathing. In fact, in many traditional Daoyin guiding and pulling techniques, the relationship between breathing and the nose is described more profoundly. For example, Zhuangzi mentions, the breathing of the true man comes from the heels, the breathing of the common man comes from the throat. Although we haven't reached the level of the true man yet, By regulating rhinitis, we can at least return from shallow mouth breathing to natural nasal breathing. Here, I'll teach you another auxiliary trick called the nose rubbing method. Every morning after washing your face, rub your palms together until warm. Then use the thenar eminence, the fleshy muscle at the base of the thumb of both hands, to rub up and down the sides of the bridge of your nose, from between the eyebrows, Yingxiang, all the way to the Yingxiang acupoint. Repeat this action 36 times. You'll feel your entire nose warming up from the outside in. This heat can increase local blood flow, equivalent to giving your nasal mucosa a deep spa treatment. Regarding children's rhinitis, a concern for many parents, I'd like to add a few words. Children's constitutions are typically characterized by yang is not excessive, yin is often insufficient, and their spleen and stomach are extremely delicate. For children, we don't recommend excessive use of cold and cool herbs. Parents should focus on massaging the spleen meridian and performing spinal pinching. By regulating the spleen and the stomach, the acquired foundation, ensuring the production of qi and blood, the lungs' metal naturally receives support. In TCM, this is called cultivating earth to generate metal. Specific operation. 1 hour after dinner every day. Perform spinal pinching on the child 3-5 times, pausing and lifting specifically in the area of the 5 BL13 points on the back. This physical stimulation can greatly stimulate the child's own immunity. If the child has severe nasal congestion, apply a warm towel to the Yingxiang acupoint and the root of the nose, between the eyes. The heat can penetrate through the skin, quickly reducing edema. At this point, I'm reminded of an ancient saying: a physician cannot treat himself. Medicine should not be taken indiscriminately. Although I've shared many formulas today, everyone's situation is vastly different. If your symptoms are very severe, even accompanied by high fever, splitting headaches, or recurrent nosebleeds, please be sure to go to a regular hospital for examination to rule out organic lesions. Everything we do is lifestyle regulation based on scientific understanding. Right now, I'd like you to close your eyes and try to take a deep breath through your nose. Then, slowly exhale. Feel the sensation of the airflow passing through your nasal passages. If you feel a hint of clarity at that moment, that is your body giving you feedback. Please remember to like this video, share it with your family, and subscribe to my channel. In the upcoming series of videos, I will also deconstruct the TCM logic behind insomnia, spleen deficiency, and various sub-Gen health conditions. We must understand that health is not achieved overnight. It is a marathon of patience. The pressing action on the Yingxiang acupoint is simple, but persisting for 2 minutes daily is difficult. The dosage of Kang Erz is precise, but resisting the desire for iced drinks is difficult. Precisely because it is difficult, the value of health becomes evident. I hope this over 6000减 word heartfelt sermon can be like a gentle breeze, dispersing the haze at the tip of your nose. I don't just want to cure your rhinitis. I want to join you in examining our lives and rediscovering the rhythm of harmonious coexistence with nature through the window of Chinese medicine. Finally, a reminder. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and join our health family. Your support is my only motivation to continuously delve into the treasure trove of TCM and popularize scientific health knowledge. Let's meet in the comment section and talk about the changes after you try these methods. Breathing is the beginning of life and its continuation. May every breath you take be full of strength and fragrance. I am the National Medicine Evangelist. Thank you for listening and accompanying me Until the next video. Goodbye. That concludes our discussion on nasal congestion and the Yingxiang acupoint. But within the grand subject of the respiratory system, there are too many details worth exploring. For example, have you ever experienced worsened rhinitis due to emotional excitement? This is what TCM calls liver fire invading the lungs. The liver belongs to wood, and the lungs belong to metal. Normally, metal restricts wood, but when liver fire is excessive, it restricts lung metal, leading to acute inflammation in the respiratory tract. For this type of rhinitis, we need to add some liver soothing and qi regulating herbs in our regulation, such as mulberry leaf, sangye, chrysanthemum, juhua, or field mint, bohi. Field mint plays a key role in such formulas. It not only unblocks orifices, but also gives a refreshing feeling psychologically. When decocting mint, remember that the volatile oils in mint cannot withstand high temperatures. It must be added in the last 3 minutes before turning off the heat. This is called adding near the end, hoxia. This pursuit of detail is precisely why TCM can be effective if you're under significant workplace pressure, often feeling chest tightness, nasal congestion, and headaches. I suggest keeping a bottle of peppermint essential oil at your desk. When you feel difficulty breathing, apply a little to the Yingxiang acupoint and temples. Although this is Western aromatherapy, in logic, it shares the same origin as TCM's using fragrance to ward off foulness, fangxiang bihui. Speaking of this, let me recommend another advanced acupoint, Yingxiang, also called Bitong nasal passages point. It is located at the junction of the alar cartilage and nasal concha, just a little above the Yingxiang acupoint. If pressing Yingxiang isn't effective enough, try pressing Yingxiang obliquely upward. This point has remarkable effects on stubborn hypertrophic rhinitis. When pressing, it is recommended to use the knuckle of the index finger with deep penetrating pressure. Many friends ask if rhinitis is related to environmental pollution. Undeniably, modern urban PM 2.5, formaldehyde, etc. are indeed huge triggers. But under the same sky, why are some people unaffected while others sneeze continuously? This returns to what we discussed initially. Internal factors are fundamental. As long as your defensive qi is abundant, as long as your middle burner spleen, earth is solid, external pathogenic factors can hardly cause substantial harm. This reminds me of a saying from the Tao Te Ching. Attain utmost emptiness, maintain steadfast tranquility. Our body actually has a very powerful self-purification system. Through the meridian methods shared today, we are essentially restarting this system. Now, I'd like to ask everyone to check again, have you liked and subscribed? If you've subscribed, please type Tong To, Clear Fei Unblocked in the comments. This is not only affirmation for me, but also positive self-suggestion. Implying your respiratory system is becoming clear. Regarding the systematic regulation of rhinitis, it also involves seasonal changes. TCM speaks of spring generation, summer growth, autumn harvest, and winter storage. The high incidence of allergic rhinitis in spring and autumn is actually the body adapting to nature's rising and descending. In spring, we should follow the rising of liverwood, eating more acrid and sweet, dispersing foods like chives and coriander, which help disperse lung qi. In autumn, we should prevent dryness, eating more pears and tremella fungus to moisten the lungs and nourish yin, preventing the nasal mucosa from chapping due to dryness. I will explain these knowledge points in detail in future videos, combining them with each solar term. If you don't want to be troubled by constitutional issues in the future, subscribing to this channel will be your most valuable investment. Finally, I want to leave you with a sentence. Life isn't just about the immediate drudgery. There is also poetry and distant horizons after smooth breathing. I hope through this content, you can rediscover the self that dares to take deep breaths in nature. Whether in a sea of flowers or a forest, you will no longer need the constraint of a mask. Thank you for your patient listening. If you feel this episode was information dense and highly beneficial, please be sure to press the like button and give a triple interaction. Like, share, subscribe. Your interactions can help us bring this ancient, yet scientific wisdom to more people in need. Once again, I wish everyone good health and harmonious flow. I am the National Medicine. Until our next depth video. Goodbye.